Hello, everybody. It's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are not returning. What am I talking about? We're taking a look at a brand new game. It came out on October 3rd. It only has 7 Steam reviews, so it does not have much of a presence so far. It is called Combat Directive Napoleonic Wars. It is developed by, and I might be butchering the pronunciation here, Fatis Games. I don't see them as having made anything in the past, so I'm assuming this is a new studio. I don't really know anything about them or the publisher Revi Games LLC, which also appears to have no digital track record. So that is a little bit, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. The game is, as you would guess from the name, it is about the Napoleonic Wars. Apparently has 6 different campaigns, and it looks like it's a real-time tactical war game. I have not played anything in the game other than I was clicking through some menus and it didn't look like maybe everything was fully translated to English. So this might be a rough one, but stick around and I guess we'll find out. I'm very curious about it. The art style looks interesting. So you can see here, main screen of the opening of the game, you got a new game options. And then you have profiles, and that's about it. So I guess you just play through the campaigns or something like that. I guess we're going to start with a new walkthrough because that's the only thing it gives me an option to do here. I don't see any option to do anything else. So I suppose they want to walk you through the tutorial and see how it plays. So let's go ahead and do that. We got some Russians, question mark, huddled around a fire with discarded wine bottles and apparently doing something with swords and pistols. Mysterious. Okay, so our objectives up here on the left: capture a key point, eliminate 5 enemy units, control a key point. Looks like there's a 20-minute timer. We've got apparently 1 unit here. Enemy objective is to eliminate 4 units, but I only see the 1 of ours. We've got a map we can zoom in and out of using our scroll wheel. I guess these this circle with the weirdness, I don't know what to call this, the little reverse meteor shower coming off the ground is probably an objective. Yeah, so examine the battlefield, checking out your own and the enemy's positions. So these are my men, I believe. So if I right-click on them, you've got battle power of 7, whatever that means. 0 morale. They're line infantry. They can do line, column, or square. Unit receives a temporary modifier of -2 and it takes hits from cannonball. Unit can retreat facing the enemy, straight back. Slow gun loading if it's in square formation. Cumbersome. Rotating unit takes a long time. So there's different attributes here. They have special skills. They're fresh. And I think that's my only unit. I don't see other units. So it looks like that's all we've got. So let's examine the enemy units. I don't see any enemy units. For a second, I thought these crops here were enemy units, but yeah. Anyway, so we've got the Belozerk Musketeers. Let's start the tutorial, I suppose. Select the unit on the field. All right, we left click, and we right click to move him somewhere. You can see it's at 0, so I'm assuming that's like it's using up movement points or something like that. It looks hex-based, but it seems to move in real time. So use the Q and E buttons to rotate, mouse wheel to scroll in and out. Lower right part of the screen, there's a hint. What actions can be performed? Move, fire, combat, or engage. Where is that again? Lower right? Okay. Is that what these are? Rotate and move the unit, 1 action. Alt and rotate. Alt and or click. So that's how you show. That's a weird format. Is there a... Why does it not let me... That's strange. I mean, it shows up on the menu of how I rotate. Like, click that button, but it's weird that I can't go down here and click anything on the user interface. Like, it just, I don't know if there's a way to get that tooltip to stay and you can click it, or if you just have to look on the screen for your instructions here. Okay, Choose another direction. Am I supposed to... I'm supposed to rotate and move them at once, I guess? Is this what it wanted me to do? I'm very confused here. Choose another direction, okay? I don't know. I moved them and then they rotated back. Strange. Alright, so moving forward here, rotate the unit without moving. I'm already facing that way. On the right edge of the screen, you can see a list of enemy units. The enemy now has one unit with a red background. The frame is blinking. It means reinforcements have just arrived. Unit combat strength is written on the shield, so it's a number 9. We have a number 7. The winner of a melee is determined by comparing combat strength of units, although there's always a chance for a miracle, so okay. Their strength is an 8 now. Ours is still a 7, so I'm assuming it looks like they just shoot automatically. Now this is kind of like almost like a column we are in a column formation, where only the front line of the unit is firing and the rear is not. I guess this is like an assault column, not sort of a column of 4s like I'm thinking from like marching. But wants me to engage in melee, so I guess I just right-click here. Looks like our shooting is more effective than theirs, as it brought their strength down from 8 to 6. And we right-click and move our troops forward here, and they appear to be engaging. They drove the enemy off. They win by taking 1 heart damage point. The enemy has lost 2 and retreats. Every infantry and cavalry unit has 3 heart endurance points, 2 hit points, 1 cohesion point. It works like hit point, but can be recovered. Okay, I'm not going to remember that. Every hit point contains several combat strength points. It's shown at the bottom of the panel. When the unit loses the hit point, it reduces total strength. Seems a little complicated. Although, I guess it's down here, so maybe it's not as complicated. Alright, so begin fire combat. Use control right-click. I don't love these controls. It looks like my boys are just going to start volley firing rather than just sort of skirmish firing. Boy, did they let loose. Man, do they reload quickly. Okay. Alright, so the enemy's running off. Enemy has foot artillery, or we have foot artillery coming up. So it wants me to bombard these guys, I'm assuming? Range attack. Why don't I? Okay, so we get artillery as well. Enemy Alright, we drove off the enemy artillery. Oh, okay. So I'm assuming we have to rotate. Click the enemy icon to detect where exactly it's located. They're over here. Got it. Rotate your unit. Alright, so rotate the artillery. I think we'd want to be in this breastwork. It looks like there's almost like a... What do you call it? Click. I already clicked on the icon. Why does it keep telling me to do this? Whatever, we're shooting at him. Boom! I do like to see the little ricochets. That's always nice. Enemies on long range, so fire with cannonballs only. The cannonballs inflict temporary penalty, reducing the strength of the enemy unit. The solid damage can be done with canister on effective range, a distance of 2. So solid shot's only a temporary thing? Ready-made redoubt. That's the word I was thinking of. Alright, so we limber them up to get them moving. And then move them here. Apparently they're foot... Well, it does say they're foot artillery. So they limbered up, but, like, there's no horses here. They're just moving. Put them into battery. They're getting shot at. Alright, so I just clicked to rotate, and they rotated without me holding that button down, so that's interesting. But they're in a redoubt now. They're taking some range damage from the enemy, but apparently this is close enough for canister fire. This must be the 2 hexes it referenced. And now they are shooting canister fire into the woods. And the enemy's breaking and running. Good for you. Okay. The enemy's taking 1 heart damage from a tree behind the forest. Artillery cannot fire through the forest, so you have to eliminate the enemy unit by another friendly troop. Okay, so we've got cavalry here now. So again, this is the tutorial. So it wants me to move into column formation. Caught in line unformed. Who's shooting at me? Best position is to attack is a head and bend of the road, just 2 hexes from the enemy. Okay. There's the bend of the road, right? So move up this way. Form back into line. Get ready, men. We're going to charge the infantry. Rotate. Charge! It looks like they formed into squares. So they get a +3 versus cavalry. And they drove us back! Although it looks like we routed them too. So... Okay. The infantry's had enough time to rally. Okay. Select the infantry unit. Your army objective displays in the upper left corner. Sometimes one of the objectives of the player is to seize a specific position on the battlefield. When you click the icon on this objective, the camera shows where it's located. So click here, and it's going to show us that objective, which, hey, that's convenient. That's like right here. Click the target icon to point the camera on the key point. Huh? Didn't I already do that? It seems straightforward enough for me to just move my troops without, Okay, so we took the key point. We still have to inflict 2 more casualties on the enemy to follow their, uh-oh. Square. Form square. Enemy cavalry is arriving. We're not caught unformed. We're formed into square. Well, for some reason, the cavalry very rarely actually charges squares, for what it's worth. Like, they will... Fresh reinforcements arrive. Swap the disorganized unit. Musketeers with the eager reinforcements. Swap units. Control... This game loves control right-click. Cavalry would rarely truly charge square. They would charge, but if the enemy forms up into square, they're not going to press home the attack. That's not a successful strategy. There's like a handful of times in the Napoleonic Wars where cavalry would actually break a square. Okay. So am I moving here into the woods in loose formation and skirmish formation? Or in loose formation in rough terrain, so I don't think the enemy's going to charge us. I'll go ahead and skirmish with them. Yeah, this feels like it could be a very challenging game with regards to movement in a real-time scenario, the way the controls work. Okay. Recapture the key point near the bridge. Charge it with 2 units of dragoons simultaneously. Where's the other unit of dragoons? Oh, they're both here. Okay. Select. Use to select an attack. How do you charge simultaneously? Oh, do I just... Okay, I was thinking maybe there'd be a synchronized button, but it doesn't look like there is. Okay. So it looks like we drove them off, but maybe your cavalry just pulls back no matter what at the end of a charge. So Russian army 4, Napoleon army 0. We won the tutorial! A major victory! Yay! Okay, so 1807, Russian-Prussian-French War of 1806-1807. After the crushing defeat of the anti-French coalition in the Battle of the Three Emperors, otherwise known as Austerlitz, Napoleon zealously began to redraw the map of Europe and began to place his brothers on European thrones. The state of affairs in Europe inspired Emperor Alexander with increasing fears. Wait, inspired Alexander with increasing fears. Bonaparte, clearly manipulating, sought to defeat his opponents one by one, and was very successful in this manner. The war about which the story will be told is called the War of the Fourth Coalition. This coalition in September 1806 consisted of Prussia, Russia, Great Britain, Sweden, and Saxony. Prussia declared war, the first war on the French. The Russian emperor began to urgently form corps in order to provide assistance to his ally. Meanwhile, Bonaparte, with several decisive battles, almost completely destroyed the Prussian-Saxon army and occupied most of the Kingdom of Prussia. That is why in the war on Prussian territory, the Russian army fought alone, without the help of its allies. Well, that's because you guys got there too late to help them at Jena, and what was the other one? Where basically Devoe won those battles, didn't he? Or was it Devoe? Or I can't remember. Was he the young marshal who was like the best marshal, but people hated him because he was kind of a dick? I always get him confused. I don't know if it was Devoe. He wasn't at Waterloo. He was like back in Paris running shit. Anyway, that is why the war in the Prussian territory, if they fought alone without the help of their allies. In short time, French troops took Warsaw themselves, close to the Russian border. It was no longer a question of fulfilling Allied duty, but of defending the fatherland. Okay. I'm guessing we're playing as the Russians in this game? Maybe? For the Russian... Oh, you get to choose. For the Russians or for the French. So there's multiple stages. Whoa. Okay, so there's... Eylau is in this. Hillsburg, Friedland. I don't know if this is Sarnau. So do you just like play through these linked like I don't really know what to make. I don't know what to make of this, but I know there's what 6 campaigns. This must be told from the Russian point of view because there's the Russian, Prussian, French War of 1806, 1807, Russian, Swedish War of 1808, 1809, Russian, Turkish War of 1806 to 1812, and the Patriotic War from the invasion of Russia. So this is obviously a Russia-centric game in terms of its telling of the Napoleonics. All right, so let's try the Sachsen-Kohlzomb. And I guess we fight it from both sides? I'm just very confused here. I guess there's no narrative, it's just you fight both sides. But let's see what happens if we fight it for the French. While I was desperately knocking on the doorsteps trying to get to the war, the Russian army was already fighting. So is this like a narrative thing? Already fighting in Poland. I received information about military operations from Russian, French, and German newspapers. Okay. So there's like a dialogue thing? But what are the newspapers? It is a different matter to judge a person who has fought a lot, is very experienced, and moreover endowed with an extraordinary mind. I'm talking about my cousin, Colonel Alexei Petrovich Ermolov. This feels like it's trying to be like War and Peace or something. Like, that's the vibes of like the art and the Russia focus and all that jazz. What can you say about our current state of affairs, Your Honor? Newspapers, my friend, sometimes tell such contradictory lies that it seems as if they are talking about different events. This is true, Alexei Petrovich. Once at the theater of military operations, at every opportunity, I question the participants, officers and lower ranks. Then, taking a map, I comprehend the stories with circumstances already known to me. Such exercises of the young mind are commendable if there is leisure in hunting. However, what is the reasoning of a young officer who has never smelled gunpowder? Modesty, Dennis, to which you retort with coquetry is the first what is that word? Is the first virtue because it allows you to get into a puddle less often and not amuse the world with stupid judgments. Therefore, I will only express my own about recent affairs. Okay. At first, until a commander-in-chief was appointed to the army, the rivalry between Generals Buxtehude and Bennigsen harmed the cause. However, this did not prevent the accomplishment of truly heroic deeds. What can stop a brave man? What I am saying is that contradictory orders multiplied confusion, which is why senior officers did not always understand how to act. It is true that when Field Marshal Kamensky was appointed commander-in-chief and the army was in the same hands, things went smoothly. It seemed to me that fortune had turned its face toward us, although it was not her face at all. The first battle in that campaign was between the villages of Sochchen and Koluskom, although it was not very successful for us. Tell us about them. Do us a favor. Please, in the evening, the Cossack patrols of General Barclay de Tolly crossed the eastern bank of the Vikra River. Ours destroyed. So I think they're trying to tell a historical narrative using this text about like what's going on and kind of briefing you about what you're going to be fighting here. I think. And I assume this little map here in the middle is what he's trying to tell. So like it's obviously trying to be a little storytelling element. I don't know if it's really RPG elements, but the whole army knows that this commander diligently trained his rangers in the northern forests. The inequality of power, my friend, has done its job. Our GRU ordered to ford the river in a place where our troops were not present. Part of the enemy cavalry also crossed there. At the same time, the French began to bypass our detachments on the left, swiftly counterattacking the hussars and Cossacks each time, knocked down and even overturned the first ranks of the enemy. The enemy failed to gain a foothold on the eastern bank. The Teniski infantry regiment hurried to the bridge to help, although the Tenegan people did not arrive in time. If they had arrived in time, who knows how things would have turned out. Alas, it was not possible to stop the French. The forces were too unequal. That is it, brother. And what lesson could a young officer with an inquisitive mind draw from this battle? If you please, I will say that I have understood. Cavalry, even if weak, can achieve a lot if it strikes the enemy in the flank and rear while he is unsettled. Such a disorder is very likely immediately after crossing the river, and even if the enemy has just left the forest. Take these considerations as an example from memory. Moreover, it would not be superfluous to send hussars and Cossacks to the enemy battalions which had already been brought into disarray. Okay. Use cavalry against unformed infantry. Sound advice. Okay. So I guess we'll get a look at our first real battle in this game. So we have 20 minutes to examine the battlefield before we actually fight. We're playing as the French, though, so we're the ones who are crossing the river. The Russians appear to have some artillery, Jaegers, Hussars. They got quite a bit of cavalry around here. We've got a light infantry, a line infantry. We've got reinforcements on the way. We've got a foot artillery battery, 44th line. But I think these are reinforcements, so they're not here yet. Okay. Appears to be being fought in a snowstorm. There is a artillery battery here in a redoubt. Quite a bit of enemy cavalry around here. We've already got these troops trying to ford the river. I'm a little worried about these Jaegers. I kind of wonder if our best bet is to get these guys across the river and then charge the Jaegers and then stay positioned in this wooded terrain. Maybe we can charge the redoubt. I don't know about going over the bridge directly, but being caught in that open ground by enemy infantry is a concern. We could use our artillery perhaps to bombard the enemy infantry if they can shoot far enough to get there. But I can't issue orders to them at this time. We only have a handful of units, so the battle scales in this game seem fairly small. Can I change their formation pre-battle? No. They're in skirmish now. Alright, move those guys here. Artillery is shooting. I can't hit those guys. Alright, yeah, this does feel like it's going to be difficult. You can only swap. Oh, fuck. Can you I can't click on you. Oh, you're gonna get engaged. Oh, they automatically switch to square formation at least. They're gonna get driven back, I assume. Form into line. Hey, they drove the cavalry. No, they didn't. They didn't drive the cavalry back. It looks like they got wiped out. Where did they go? Oh my god. So my boys formed into a square. Oh, wait. No, that's the Jaegers. So it's like they're not charging me. I'm confused here. I don't see any more troops. My artillery's getting blasted by the enemy artillery. The 18th Light survived the charge just barely. They're in a skirmish formation now. Wow, they wiped that line regiment out. Just flat wiped them out. We're in line now, but we're getting charged by the enemy who's stronger than us, and I expect to be wiped out again. So they routed me. It looks like they didn't kill everybody, but my boys are running off, and they aren't reforming. So I've got nothing left except some artillery, which already got driven back. So that didn't start off well. 5 minutes left. Do I get reinforced? When are my reinforcements coming up? Aren't I supposed to get reinforcements? I'm assuming my artillery also got driven off. So it's a 5-minute battle. These things are short. Can they shoot at the enemy cavalry? Can you do anything? Do I just have to wait now for the 5 minutes until something happens? I should have known that exposing our troops... Oh, reinforcements. They're coming across. Chasseurs. Charge the enemy infantry before they get in the square. Don't take forever to rotate. Get up there, boys. Charge them. Well, I don't think this one's going to go well. No rebound? Alright, we got more infantry coming up. So I can't order them into this hex until the other guys are already out. So it does pose some challenges to moving units quickly. What'd you get out of the... Can you get out of the water? I'm assuming charging out of the river is not terribly ideal. Also, apparently you lose readiness by moving in column formation, or in line formation for cavalry, which is an interesting thing. Whoa! Just murder those gunners. Although you're going to get shredded by canister, but maybe you can overcome them. They're gonna charge the They're charging cavalry? They're like in loose formation. What is going on over there? Alright, those boys broke. Lovely. So I guess volley firing enemy artillery that's in a redoubt is maybe less wise than just charging them. Alright, can you guys form a line? Maybe I should have formed you into a... Alright, actually my artillery here is bombarding these guns, and they don't appear to be shooting at my own troops. So maybe we can break them with volley fire now without bothering to charge, because I'm assuming column formation is the best for charging. Because we're like shooting into the rear. Granted, they're in a redoubt, but still... Move those troops up, let them recover a bit. Alright, charge them. You're going to be in a frickin' redoubt now, so hopefully the enemy cavalry won't want to charge a redoubt. Enemy reinforcements are coming up, so we get some points for breaking that enemy artillery. I'm a little nervous about moving my infantry forward here on this enemy cavalry. But maybe if we shoot them, shoot them and they're not able to charge us because we're in a redoubt, it'll help us. Alright, so we're going to automatically rotate. I could use some more reinforcements, but... disorganized. Alright. We drove the enemy off. Nice. So that redoubt's nice. Good, good, good. Drove the enemy into the woods. That's interesting. It'd be cool if you could actually take guns. I don't see any indication that you can. Form square, quick. Form square. You're not going to form square, are you? Also, cavalry shouldn't be able to just charge out of the woods like that. At least not without some time to reform into a line. You would have time. Okay, so technically we are equal in terms of casualties inflicted. Boys in this redoubt are doing some good work, or at least in the score up here, we're equal. It feels like we're losing the battle, but we've successfully eliminated one enemy. We've taken a key point. It's a tie. Okay, do you have to win? It looks like you have to win to move on. Okay, well, I guess we will try this again, maybe? So I tied. So I guess you need to win the battle in this game in order to proceed in the campaign. So it's not like dynamic where you can so it's not like dynamic where you can just win a battle and then, or not win a battle and proceed. It looks like this is a game where you have to win in order to move forward. So we know the troops come out on this bridge, and that might give us a chance to overwhelm this battery in this redoubt. The problem with winning, I think, is... yeah, that'll give us some victory points. But the problem with it winning, I think, is the enemy in this wood line here, and the enemy cavalry up here, perhaps charging us. We're in skirmish formation here, they're in skirmish formation, but we're in the water, which feels like that would be a major downside. If we get into the woods, I would think that would give the enemy cavalry a penalty for charging us. So maybe we move the 14th line up this way. I've got the artillery in my ear over here. Tell them to range attack that redoubt. And maybe we can move these guys up over on the right a little bit. I don't know if the enemy cavalry can charge us in the woods. I'd like to think they can't. But I don't actually know if that's true. Alright, so these boys are in the woods now. Let's form into a skirmish formation. And then once we do, because that's kind of what the tutorial had us do anyway. Let's see if we can... the enemy's charging me, but again, we are in skirmish formation, so that could be a major downside. But nope, we drove them back. So I am assuming a big part of this is the enemy is charging into a wood line. Rough terrain, yeah, -2 for rough terrain. So it is penalizing the cavalry for charging into... oh, but they got us still. So they still managed... weird audio glitching. They still managed to defeat our unit there. Our reinforcements are not up yet. Our artillery is still sort of bombarding away. Can we destroy these guys? So they got one defeat of us. Maybe they're going to try and rally. I'd like to try and wipe them out. So we haven't suffered as badly anyway. It's historical. We lost the one unit, but we did pretty badly shoot up these Cossacks. So let's keep pushing. We know the enemy has this cavalry on the left flank, and they've got the artillery in the redoubt. I suppose taking the redoubt with our new infantry that's going to come up here would be a challenge. Can we... Oh, I can't melee him. It says chart. It says fire only. Is the village an objective we need to take? I don't like moving into the open, but the enemy cavalry's been so weakened that I'm hopeful. Reinforcements are coming up. Our cavalry's coming up. Let's get these boys over here. So we're driving them off the map, I guess? I don't get any credit for destroying them yet. I don't know if we have to... Go take that village. I don't know if we have to do something. I can also try and make sure my cavalry doesn't die now that we're... Movement and line formation. Really hates when you do that. Alright, we're gonna have my... Can I just order them to charge? I've got to move them up one by one. Alright, just straight melee these guys. They're in a redoubt. Alright, they're going to evade. They're going to pull back and evade. But we should have good cover in this redoubt from an enemy countercharge. I would think. Move this infantry up. Move our cavalry around. We've got these Jaegers to worry about. Move the 44th line to melee these guys. Enemy cavalry's on their flank, so that is a concern. They're shooting at the enemy troops in the woods. Our own cavalry's going to move down here, see if they can charge the 3rd Jaegers. Our troops up here. Well, the enemy's going to charge them, but they've only got 1 hit point, so I'm optimistic that we will win this. Skirmish order versus cavalry is going to give us a big penalty, -4. But we still win the day. We still drive them back. We destroy them, really. We'll go ahead and have our cavalry melee these boys. They've only got 1 hit point left, 2. I think this will be a pretty easy victory now at this point. So we destroyed that enemy Jaeger unit. We destroyed that enemy cavalry unit. There's just the 1 enemy cavalry unit left. Go ahead and form in square. Our own cavalry survived. Form up into square for both these guys. I don't know what they're going to do with their cavalry, but boys are disorganized temporarily. But I think the enemy might get reinforcements at some point. I thought it said enemy reinforcements would come up. But yeah, there's the enemy reinforcements. There's only 2 minutes left though. We throw all of our forces on the field, we will have the advantage. Alright, turn yourselves. These guys are disorganized over here. They're still in column. They're shooting at these hussars. Gonna charge the redoubt? So they charge the redoubt. Our troops aren't in square, but they're in a defensive position, and so they wipe that enemy unit out. Enemy musketeers coming up here. The 3 musketeers! They're in an assault column formation. My artillery can't hit over here, so it's kind of... Alright, let's have our cavalry charge these guys. So here's the thing. If they form into square, we've got units adjacent to them firing muskets at them. And with our cavalry charging into their flank, I gotta think that's going to be a good result here. 48 seconds left in the battle, but I gotta think these guys are pretty much done. Dunzo. My cavalry did withdraw, but they got the better of that charge. The enemy unit's almost wiped out. Okay. So our boys in line here in the redoubt are firing at these disorganized enemy troops. I think they're technically in square and getting shot and volleyed at, so... Alright, melee these guys and wipe them out. There's no time left, but we win a major victory. Okay. That was simple enough. And so we get a major victory with stage 1 from the side of the French. I don't know if we have to go back to stage 1 and play for the Russians. Like, it just seems like it's just going to bring us through linked battles, like one at a time. I'm assuming if we do this again from the French point of view, we'll get another explanation of what's about to happen here. So, I don't know. It's interesting looking. I don't know that it's... I think my understanding from reading the write-up is that the actual combat is not, like, you're not going to have more than, I think, 7 units. And I do think the fact that it's real-time, the way that the synchronization works for these units is it is challenging to maintain coordination, which I guess is realistic. I don't know. So you can turn these little pre-battle dialogues off. I'm not really... So it's just sort of telling this guy, like, what happened here, which is, I guess, interesting. But I don't know that... I don't know if the character ever matters. Maybe during the Great Patriotic War, the last scenario, it matters more. This is obviously the first campaign, so he's just sort of reading to us. I'm curious if we go to a different camp... Oh, these are locked, so we've got to play through... We've got to play through the first campaign to unlock the second campaign. But it is interesting that it looks at the Russian-Turkish War and the Russian-Swedish War, because those are not periods that you usually get explained to you in war games. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm compelled or not to play more of this game, but I wanted to show it off because, I mean, there'd basically been no Steam reviews of it. It is $20. I'm not usually someone who's like... I mean, I play War in the Pacific. That's a $90 game, and it's 20 years old. So I don't know that I'm complaining about price, but it seems not as complex as maybe I would like, but also controls-wise is a little clunky. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I guess let me know your thoughts, guys. What do you think? Is this something you want to see more of or not? This was really just intended as a first look. Let's open the game up. Let's play it. Let's see what happens. I had some issues streaming it. I don't know if that was on my internet or if that was on the game's lack of optimization, but yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. That's going to do it for tonight or today. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. A little bit on the shorter end, but not really feeling playing another battle. It's interesting. I wish there were more Napoleonic War games, so I'm glad that this one exists. But let me know your thoughts. Yep. Until next time, guys, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.